South Africa. Arguably, the trial that changed South Africa. After the banning of political movements such as the ANC and PAC by the apartheid government in 1960, most of its leaders were placed under house arrest, forcing them to go underground to continue their political work. In July 1963, the police swooped on Liliesleaf Farm in Rivonia. This was a Johannesburg suburb where banned persons had been meeting. This led to the famous Rivonia Trial, in which 8 accused were sentenced to life imprisonment with hard labor. They were Nelson Mandela, Walter Sisulu, Ahmed Kathrada, Govan Mbeki, Raymond Mhlaba, Denis Goldberg, Elias Motsoaledi, and Andrew Mlangeni. Tomorrow will mark 50 years of that trial. For more on how the day will be commemorated, we are joined by the spokesperson for the Kathrada Foundation, Neeshan Bolton. Neeshan, welcome.
Good morning.
Good to have you here on the program. So it's been named the trial that changed South Africa. How important was this Rivonia trial?
I think it was extremely important from a number of points of view. One, it really was the intention of the National Party to, out of this trial, they hoped that the liberation movement would be smashed and that its leaders would be obliterated from the memory of South Africans. What they got instead was the opposite. The trial became a rallying point for South Africans and for the international community, and ensured that for the duration of their incarceration, they were not forgotten, and in many ways, I think, spurred on future generations of activists. They became the beacons for future generations to continue the struggle. So in that way, I think it helped to shape the struggle both inside and outside of South Africa for 3 decades thereafter.
Yeah. The Kathrada Foundation, you were telling me, you chatted to Ahmed Kathrada and he said he can't believe it's 50 years.
I don't think any of them can believe that it's 50 years already.
Yeah.
Because they remember this day, and particularly today and tomorrow, as clearly as it was for them 50 years ago. Yeah. They can remember almost each and every sentence of the court deliberations. It has become entrenched into their memories as his most important stories for many other people.
Yeah, we saw Ahmed Kathrada being so emotional at the burial of Nelson Mandela, and of course that was, that was a moment we all watched on, yeah. and that was a man who he shared so much with. Most of his life he shared together, him and Nelson Mandela being great friends. The Rivonia Trial is something that they certainly bonded them together as well. Does he often reminisce about those times?
Very often. He would, but he has been saying to us of late that one should not only remember the Rivonia Trial, because 1964 saw a number of trials happening in South Africa, and in particular in the start of 64, you had what was called the Durban 19 starting their sentence, which is Billy Ney, Koenig and Glovo and a number of others there. You also had the Rivonia Trial, and at the end of December 64, you had what was called the Little Rivonia Trial, which featured Mac Maraj, Lalu Chiba and others. So in that year, the 64 was really a high point in terms of the state's attempt to smash the liberation movement, and featured this trial and many others. And that's what Kathrada has been stressing. Don't overemphasize Rivonia, but I think that's just his modesty. Yeah,
yeah. He is a modest man and an incredible man. Yeah. What is the foundation going to be doing to commemorate the occasion?
2 things. Tomorrow at the Mandela Foundation, we host a youth dialogue. Yeah. Young people in conversation with Ahmed Kathrada, which will also, I think, have a very special address by Shaka Sisulu, as a younger generation of the Sisulus reflecting on the trial. In the evening at the Apartheid Museum, we host an evening of reflections on the trial, and that's going to be addressed by the Gauteng Premier David Makura. But at the end of that, we will also launch the exhibition on Ahmed Kathrada, which will open at the Apartheid Museum for 3 months thereafter.
Yeah. Now, we're actually going to be broadcasting from the Nelson Mandela Foundation tomorrow as Morning Live, which I'm really looking forward to, especially ahead of the youth dialogue. How important is it for the youth to understand and to remember this particular moment in our history?
I think it is absolutely crucial. Not only from the point of view of wanting young people to understand history, but to understand the lessons, particularly of that period, and the kind of thinking that went behind the attempt to smash the liberation movement. The enforcement of apartheid, I think, is what drove this particular trial. And it is important for young people to understand the sentiments that formed the backbone of apartheid, and the extent to which its enforcers would go to ensure that people like Mandela and Kathrada were in fact put in jail for lengthy periods of time for their own set of beliefs. And it's that which I think young people need to understand, because it gives a context into which they need to deal with their challenges today.
Yeah, yeah. Just as a closing comment on the program, I know last night was a big night as well. It was I think they launched gold medallions.
Liliesleaf Trust, I think, launched a set of gold medallions,
right,
to commemorate the 50th anniversary of the sentencing of the trialists. Yeah. And that, I think, is part of their own efforts to mark this occasion, as well as as an attempt to raise funds to keep that centre alive as well.
Fantastic. Thank you for talking to us.
No,
we'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you very much.
We'll see you tomorrow. There's those famous words, 1964, Nelson Mandela at the Rivonia Trial. It is an ideal which I hope to live for and to achieve, but if needs be, it is an ideal for which I am prepared to die. Those words echoed into our history and certainly shaping our future here in South Africa by the late Nelson Mandela. Thank you for talking to us. Thanks for being with us here on the program.
Thank you very much.
Neeshan Bolton is a spokesperson for the Kathrada Foundation. Let's take a break. We'll see you after this.